Well, hello. I'm Lisa, and this is my channel about cross stitch and any other crafty shenanigans I can get myself into. Welcome. Thank you for coming by and joining me today. And thank you to everyone who has come back. Also, thank you to everyone that has left me lovely comments on my last videos. Thank you for being a part of this community. Well, today is Friday, March 6, 2026. It is my brother's birthday. I got to talk to him earlier today, and I said, dude, I've got to go film a video. I don't need to be talking any longer. No, that's not what happened. We had a nice conversation. We even texted a little bit more, and I will be going to see him and my sissy in-law next month. And because of that, I get a chance to go to the attic in Mesa, Arizona. Now, I've never been to the attic, and I'm hoping that I can go. I hope nothing changes. I don't know what that's going to do with my by cross stitch ear, but I'm assuming that since I've fallen off the wagon every month so far, that I'll be falling off the wagon next month as well. But that's okay. I'm going to give myself some grace because who knows when I will get back to the attic, and I want to enjoy that experience. I think, well, I know what I will do or may do is I've always wanted to kit up a Hands Across the Sea sampler there. I don't know where that comes from, but I always thought it would be nice to kit up a hats sampler at the attic. So that's what I may be doing, but only time will tell. So first of all, I've got a nice tall stack of whips right here for your enjoyment. But I want to announce the winners of my giveaway from the last video. So first off is the bag, and that goes to Judy Olson. I will pop up a picture of your YouTube name. And then we have pin cushions, book, and that goes to micty.pe1. And last but never least is My Sweet Home by Heartstring Samplery, and this goes to Nola McNeely, NOLAMCNEELY 7857. If you could please email me at the email address in the description box below with your name, address, your YouTube name, I will mail those off to you. Now, I do ask that you respond by March 31st, or the items will no longer be available. Okay, what I have FFO'd since my last video. I got a frame from Hobby Lobby, and I framed every opening flower by Brenda Gervais with thy needle and thread. I used 37 count corn tassel by Legacy Linens, and all the called for floss except for Gentle Arts Mountain Mist. I have about 4 or 5 Gentle Arts Mountain Mist, and they all look different. And when I would see other people's progress or completion of this chart, I just noticed that the house, theirs looked more blue. And I even contacted some of them and asked them, what color did you use? And they said Mountain Mist, but I just didn't want to chance it with my Mountain Mist. So I used Classic Colorworks Shamrock instead of Mountain Mist. And I love cream white frames. Susan Aki, the quilt designer, she has an Instagram account. I believe it's Yard Girl 60. And every once in a while she posts her red sampler wall, and they're all in cream or white frames, and I love it. I love that look. I don't know if I'm gonna have one wall full of white framed pieces, but you never know. Here is Ruth Gibb by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This was done on 36 count Duxbury by Fox and Rabbit Designs. And I used Fallow Red by Roxy Flosco. Is that right? Roxy Flosco? Yeah, I think so. Fallow Red is my favorite red. And I did another hats using that same floss color. And I love this sampler so much because I love that the girl or young lady or young woman that did this, I did read the story that Nicola Parkman wrote about Ruth Gibb, but now I can't remember how old she was. But anyways, I love that she did her name in script and made it huge. That says a lot about that girl. She was bold, and I love that. Next, but never least, is a Blackbird design called Eleanor Rigby. And I know, shocking, it's got a black frame. But this will be up or displayed all year long, but I also thought it would be good to put in for Halloween. This is stitched on the called for 32 count Confederate gray with the called for DMC floss. And I stitched this a long time ago and finally got it framed. I just kept debating, did I want to try a flat fold? I knew I didn't want a pillow. I tried looking for a decor piece that I could put it on, and I really didn't find anything I liked. So in the end, she is properly framed and beautiful. Okay, and then for Tara Sullivan's Sully Stitches on Instagram for her 250th kickoff for Super Bowl Sunday. I actually started it a few days earlier, but I did patriotic heart. I just want you to know, I can, for the most part, speak normally. It's just when that little red dot turns on, I become a bubbly mess. Anyways, moving on. For her 250th kickoff, Super Bowl Sunday, I did Patriotic Heart by Samplers Not Forgotten. This was a kit. And this was my first time using this type of trim. And it's okay. It's not great, but I do love it. And so that will be on display. And then I also made a heart, but I haven't fully stuffed it yet because I ran out of stuffing. So, but I need to get this going. This is Nicole Spore's Patchwork Heart. I don't know if that's the official name or not. But anyways, you can get the pattern for the patchwork on Fat Quarter Shop, and then she supplied the heart shape. And I wanted to give that a go. And that's using Tim Holtz fabric. And it's also backed in Tim Holtz fabric. So I just need to get that completed. Okay, so February began, and I have to tell you, February brought with it a very bad case of STARTITIS. And it kind of started during the Olympics. I did stitch the Winter Olympics with Katie, the Naptime Stitcher, on Instagram. And I had projects that I had decided that I was going to stitch on, but I also decided to add some extras in. So the first one that I started was Patriotic Heart. And then in my book of days, this is the Stacy Nash Stitcher's Journal. For February, I documented all my stitching, my starts, my finishes, my FFOs. If a line is crossed out, I either didn't stitch at all or I did crochet. I was gone one weekend visiting friends and I crocheted that weekend instead of cross stitch. Or if there were just other things going on, I didn't cross stitch. So for Winter Olympics, I had penciled in projects that I thought I could do during that event, kind of meeting that topic. And then that way, when the day came, I didn't have to think about it. I had something that I knew I could go to. And then there were days that I didn't do any of my own suggestions and either started something new or picked up something completely different. So that leads to my second start, and that is in this project bag made by me. I think this was the very first project bag I made. And this is Indigo Lane by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And I am stitching this on 40 count vintage lentil by Lakeside. Oh shoot, wrong piece. Sorry, excuse me. I have two pieces cut in here, one for the drum and one for the main piece. So I'm doing this on vintage 40 count vintage lentil. And here's my floss. Let me show you that. With the light, it's looking really mottled, but it's more of a creamy color maybe. Called for floss. And the only thing different is I am changing the house color to one of the called for colors in that. That's just a preference I decided to do because I love those blues that she has. Okay, next up, this is a nutcracker bag I can't remember the maker of, but in this bag holds my Blackbird Christmas. And this is Home for the Holidays. and I'm stitching this piece right here. So this was also, I'm doing Nicole Spore's Christmas Whip Go 2026, and that number called was number 22, and that was to start a blackbird. So that's what I did. And this is on 36 count Seraphim. No, Dirt Road by Seraphim. And I started that, and here are the colors. And I'm changing up the colors because I usually don't have all of the Gentle Arts floss available in any pattern I come across from Blackbird. So I knew I wanted to stitch the dove in grits, and that dove is actually outlined with linen, and you can't even tell the bird's wing. So I might go in there and back stitch around the bird's wing for it to pop. And then I'm not doing the called for color of the house. I started with Dove, a color that I really love. Ooh, I made a rhyme. And then I'm just gonna go for it from there. As far as what colors I choose to do. I really prefer to do the called for. I really prefer to do whatever the designer has suggested, but there are times that I'm like, I'm not sure. So I do not consider myself a colorist whatsoever. Okay, my next start was in this Lori Holt Americana bag. And of course it's a patriotic, and it's Lady Liberty. And what am I stitching her on? Oh, 36 count Dirt Road by Seraphim. And again, not the called for colors. Got started on the bunting. I might have stitched 2 nights on this. And these are the colors that are not called for, but what I've chosen to play with. I know, so I stitched a Stacy Nash patriotic, and the colors in that piece were Schoolhouse, no, is that right? Oopsies. Yes, that's right. Schoolhouse Red by Gentle Arts. Brethren Blue by Gentle Arts. And Straw Bonnet by Gentle Arts. And I loved how those 3 look together, so that's what I decided to have as my red, white, and blue. Even if I had even one of the called fors, I just thought I would go with that. That's a heavy charm on that bag, so it will cling. Okay, something way out of left field that I started was Gila J 1898 by Reflet de Soie. I've had this chart for quite a while, and I think maybe last year I decided that I was going to pull a fabric for it, and I did. 36 count Nirvana by Needle and Flax. And the called for is DMC or Soie de J. And I was not going to do it on the Soie. And so I had gone onto the hashtag GLeger1898 or GLeger on Instagram to look what other people had finished the project and what their flosses were. And I came across Lisa, the Kindred Stitcher, on Instagram and FLOSSTUBE, and she had done a complete conversion. Now, hers was done several years ago, but I reached out to her, and she kindly, lovingly sent me her floss conversion for it. And I'm very thankful for that. I went back into Instagram under those same hashtags to look at something else regarding GLeger, and I found Deb from Country Stitcher's floss conversion. So I went ahead and copied that too, because some of Lisa's floss I didn't have. And that way I thought, well, I could kind of work between the two and see. So I don't know what's wrong with me that I'm now into color, but ooh, that is really showing modeled much more. It's much more softer than that, but that's my start, and I am loving the colors. And the leaves here called for dry time. Well, Lisa's conversion called for dry time, and I couldn't find dry time, so I tried Artichoke by Weeks Dye Works, and it was dry time by Weeks Dye Works. And then I found a dry time in my stash, and I compared the two, and I thought, I'm just gonna keep Artichoke. It looks good. And they're very similar. I can't believe how modeled that is. Looking. So that is GLeger, and I have no plans on a finish for her. Oh, here are some of the colors that I've started to use. So, you know, I'll just pick her up when I feel like it and work on that. I really thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Deb, for offering those up to everyone. Okay, next up in my Christmas bag, my Brenda Gervais Christmas bag made by me. And this was from one of the days of the Olympics, from the Snowball, Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. I started the chalet using the called for floss. So that's my little start of that. And didn't do anything more on that one. But it's a start. And it's cute. I know I'm missing a thread color, a DMC thread color. And I know I bought all the thread colors for that. So it's made its way somewhere, someplace. Okay. Start number 7. Well, I was feeling like I needed to start or work on an animal cracker, which is ironic because I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. So I was kindly gifted this from a friend, Henny Penny. Oh, she's so cute. And I said in a previous floss tube that I wasn't into chickens. I'm not into chickens as like I don't have decor of chickens, but I like chickens. I really do like chickens. And obviously I like stitching them. This is on 40 count Oaken by Picture This Plus with the called for floss. My floss is in a different bag because I'm moving back and forth. So that's my start on Henny Penny. Boy, I'm just shuffling things around like crazy here. Okay. Okay, sorry. My next 3 starts I started this past week. They're all Brenda Gervais with thy needle and thread, and they're all spring Easter charts. And I have it in this little tote from Punky Pearls on Instagram. I guess it's been 2 or 3 years since I got this bag. Here is my floss ring of all the called for threads for these charts. Now, Carol, the Salt Box Stitcher, had suggested that if you're going to do a Stacey Nash or a Plum Street or Brenda Gervais, a lot of them use the same colors. So have a big ring and use that for your projects. And of course, I did what she said to do. Hello. Thank you, Carol, for that suggestion. Not that you watch, but thank you. Putting it out there in the universe. Thank you. Okay, happy Easter. I love these little baskets. She has the Christmas one and the Halloween one. And now I'm doing the Easter one. So I started this the other night and I got the outline of the bunny done and I did the handle. Those are 1/1 stitches. I have to be in the mood to do 1/1. So luckily I was in the mood and watched Survivor and got it done. And it met up. Oh my gosh, thankful. It's on 40 count vintage country mocha called for floss. And then next up is Grandma's Candy Dish. And Grandma's Candy Dish, I started on 36 count country mocha, called for floss. And it is a candy dish, and so she wants you, or she suggests that you do 2/2 on the top, the bunny top. And so that's what I did. And it's not something that I'm really enjoying. I'm not sure I really like my stitches. But I think once it's done, it'll look fine. It'll be cute. It's just I'm not used to doing 2/2 anymore. Once I found 36 and 40, that became my love language. But I will be doing something over 32 in the near future. And that's a topic for another time. A basket full of springtime. I have done the patriotic one. I need to do the Halloween one, and I need to do the Christmas one. And I am doing this on 36 count vintage country mocha, but I'm using the back side. Sometimes I do that. I like to mix it up. And that's my start. And I just love stitching those baskets. I enjoy stitching those so much. I really do. Like I'm lying about stitching baskets. Like I have to convince you. Anyways. Oh, maybe I'm starting to get punchy. All right. So those were my 10 starts in February. In addition to my starts, I've worked on other items. So I decided, project bag made by me, to pull out Plum Street Samplers Chocolate Hearts. And this is a kit from Katie Strachan Embroidery. And I believe this is 37 count corn tassel by Legacy Linens. And that flower was fun to do. And then I dropped down and did some grass and worked on the stag. I don't know if I told you last time I showed this, maybe in my whip parade, I was gonna change up the pattern a little bit. I've decided not to do that. I was gonna make one of the deer a doe. I decided I'm not gonna do that. I even messaged Katie Strachan and she gave me some pointers, which I appreciate. She's great. I've messaged her before and helps me out, and I appreciate that, Katie. Thank you. Again, not somebody who watches, but you know, putting it out there in the universe. Okay. This bag was gifted to me for my birthday from a friend. And here is Santa Stops Here by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And this is another Katie Strachan kit. I don't have all of them. I must have gone on a bender. And this was my project for Christmas Whip Go 2026. For February. So I got some more done on this. I finished the bricks in the house. Well, I didn't finish all the bricks in the house. I finished all but the bricks. Well, wait a minute, maybe I did. Oh, call me a liar, I did. And the wreath, because I brought the wreath down. I'm not putting Candy House on there, so I brought the wreath down. I tried to follow Katie Strachan's picture of her conversion. Like in her, she doesn't do the trees, she's just got the snow. But, and then I started filling in the mortar, and I think I did some snow down there by the trees. And then I'll jump over here and work on some berries. A lot of stitching on this house, but I do love it. And I told my friends, I have a love-hate relationship with silk. Some days it's fine, either the Soie Surfine, the Soie 103s, or the Gobelins, and other days I struggle with it. So I don't know what that means, but moving on. So part of stitch the Winter Olympics. One day was do a Halloween or fall stitch. So I decided to pull out Butternut House Pin Keep by Stacy Nash. I bought the PDF. That's why it looks like this. And these are the threads. And this is stitched on a leftover piece, 40 count material. This is back when I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I didn't understand the Newcastle, Edinburgh, Belfast, all of that. And I wasn't also keeping colors. So I think it might be on a Mushroom or Mocha by Zweigert. I'm not sure. So again, I worked on some grass, I worked on some house, I got the roof done. So yeah, plugging along. My treatment for Startitis is just one stitch at a time, because that's the only way we're going to get through this, which is fine by me because that's why I love stitching. Okay. This bag I got from my friend Janine, and this is a carry bag from Red Velvet Quilts. Beautiful bag, beautiful. And in here I have the piece, the Language of Flowers piece. I was going to say something about that, and it must have been a lie because it went nowhere. This is by the Blue Flower. These are the called for DMC flosses. And I tell you what, when I saw this yellow, I was like, what? No, thank you. It's not that I don't like yellow. Yellow is my father-in-law's favorite color. I always thought that was interesting. And my mother-in-law's was black. Okay, so this is stitched on, ooh, I've got it the wrong way. Orientation, Lisa. This is stitched on 38 count Irish Coffee by Legacy Linen. And I know what I was gonna say. I forgot to show this in my whip parade. I actually started this on New Year's Eve. So, and then that bright yellow is in there and it looks beautiful. You're thinking that the colors look garish and then they end up looking good. Okay, so that's everything I've stitched. Are you still with me? Hanging in there? Alrighty. So, my plans for March, we're in March, is to continue with my spring and Easter stitching. Christmas Whip Go 2026. I'll show you this, my board. So I did my Blackbird start and my Santa stops here. And the numbers called for March are number 3 and 4. So that means 3 for me is a ginger start. So I will post a picture somewhere of Ginger because I only have her in the PDF and I didn't print the picture. That's Ginger by Stacy Nash. And I have all the called for floss. And this is the same floss ring for Henny Penny. And then the fabric, which I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name. And now I can't even remember the name of the maker. Blackberry Primitives? I'll put it down. I'll write it here. This will let me know that I'm writing it here. Okay, and then my next called for is Christmas Angels. And Christmas Angels is by Birds of a Feather. And this is stitched on 40 count Piccadilly White by Legacy Linens. And the call for Weeks Dye Works. I got this from Sherry at Colorado Cross Stitcher. And I've left it in the tissue. It is so white, and I'm not used to working with white, but that was my tiny start when I first got it. So that's all I've done. So this month, I'm gonna put some work into it. And I'm actually excited to start Ginger and work on this because I wasn't sure how well I was gonna do with Christmas in other parts of the month, but so far so good. We'll see once summer gets here. Alrighty. Purchases. Oh, I'm sorry. So that was my whip goes, and then other things I'm gonna stitch, probably some more patriotic, either Lady Liberty or Start Something New or something I've already started. And then anything else that tickles my fancy. So I went to, there is a craft thrift store in Pleasanton, California. No, not Pleasanton, Pleasant Hill, California. And I stopped by there on my way home one day. My daughter and I stopped in to check it out. And of course, I rummaged through the cross stitch charts. Didn't find a whole lot that I was wanting to bring home, but there was a bag of P. Buckley moss. There were 2 charts in there and a started project. It was The Girl with Apples. I don't know if that's the name of the chart, but I also found this chart. And I know it doesn't look like my style, but ever since I've seen this chart, I just love it. I think it's so serene, and I love an ice skater. And this is called Solitary Skater. And you know what? I don't know if I'll ever do it, but I have it. And maybe one day I will pick it up and do it. So I asked the lady, I said, the whole bag was like $22, and I knew it looked like a ginormous count on the cross stitch fabric. I mean, to me, it looked like it could have been 10 count. So I said, I just really want this chart. And she says, I don't think we knew that chart was in there. So she offered me she said $1.50, and I said, I'll take it. Okay, I meant to show you this in my last video, but I forgot. But I bought this scissor fob from the Fern Ridge Collections, Patriotic Scissor Fob. So I don't know if I'm going to do this or if my lovely mother who watches my videos, I love you, Mama, will make it for me. Several years ago, my stitch group and I went to Needle in a Haystack in Alameda, California, and they had some of these fobs, and they had a magnolia one, and I love magnolias. And so I bought it for my mom to make me. Isn't that sweet of me? No, I told her if she didn't want to or couldn't, that I would try to make it. But this is peyote, I'm sure many of you know, and using 2 needles, and my mom had never done that before, but she made me a beautiful magnolia scissor fob. We went on YouTube together and looked at some videos, and she was able to do it. I don't have it in my hot little hands right now, but I will post a picture of it. And then I'm gonna see if she wants to do this one for me. And if not, it's fine. I'm willing to try. Okay, so my aunt gifted me, this is dirty, I haven't cleaned it up yet, my Mimi's buttonhole maker box. Still has the buttonhole maker in there. I love the shape of this box. And I'm thinking of making like some sort of pin cushion to sit down in here. So if you have any suggestions for patterns, because it would most likely have to be oval, I have some ideas in my mind, but if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below or email me. Nothing that I'm gonna rush and do right away, but you know, I'd like to get an idea of this. I love it. And I think it will be, once it's cleaned up and I put something in there, I think it'll be fun. Okay, so that's all my cross stitch for now. I wanted to tell you about a little field trip that my stitch group and I made to San Francisco to the DeYoung Museum. Over at the DeYoung, they are doing a exhibition called Embroidered Histories, and it's a selection from the Fine Arts Museum of San Francisco from their permanent collection. And we went specifically to see this, plus another exhibition that I will tell you about in a minute. But this exhibition had samplers from Scotland, England, Italy, Germany, and as I go through them, any place else. The oldest sampler was from 1665, and I will try to show pictures as I'm talking to you about this. It was in a small room of the museum. I had heard that it was small, that it was a small exhibit. It was smaller than I thought it'd be, but there was only one wall of samplers, and then there was a case in the center of the room that had 2 samplers in it. But being able to get up close to these samplers was just jaw-dropping if you're a stitcher. And it just blew my mind. The tiny tiny, tiny stitches. And many of them are beautiful, and their colors are still beautiful. And all I kept saying was, I want to see what the colors are on the back. One had beads, one had sequins. So I'm just going to give you a little rundown of these samplers, and as I show pictures of them. The first one was Martha Lawton of Scotland, 1835. And I just couldn't get over her stitches of her verse, how tiny they were. And there's others like this too, but it's just... I'll read you the verse. The verse says, "Kind angels watch this sleeping bust till Jesus comes to raise the just. Then may I wake with sweet surprise and in my Savior's image rise. This work in hand my friends may have when I am dead and in my grave." Next is Margaret Maxwell, Scotland, 1844. She has the big red house that I love. The stitches are beautiful, all the different types of stitches. One of the things that was noted is that many times if they stitched the initials in black, they are of the deceased. And on the side of the house, she titled it Roman House. And at the bottom, she said Mrs. Blythe School. Next up is Dorothy Dunlop, Scotland, circa 1750. The reds and green in this is absolutely beautiful. And that she stitched the Lord's Prayer, and part of the Apostles' Creed, it looked like she ran out of space. But beautiful, teeny tiny stitches. And the whole sampler is just beautiful. The alphabet, the flowers, everything. To me, it's just amazing. And I don't know a lot about the historical samplers, but I can appreciate the work these girls, young ladies, women put into. Next up is Margaret McDougall, Scotland, circa 1760 to 1815. And at the bottom, I loved this verse. "I have power to defend myself and others." Mic drop. Okay, here is a beautiful darning sampler from Germany, 1830. And all of the embroidery, all of the stitches are in silk. This sampler is from France or Italy from the 19th century. It obviously never got done, but the beauty of it is that you can see the traces of ink, the images left that are to be done in the future. The next one is the 2-column band sampler from Germany, 1685. This was just amazing. The colors, the different stitches, everything about it was absolutely beautiful. We have another darning sampler from the Netherlands, 1771. And what's interesting is you can see that this person did four-sided stitch. Next is Charlotte Manby from England, dated late 18th century. And her verse reads, but I hope I'm interpreting this correctly. Learn to condemn all praise betimes, for flattery is the nurse of crimes. With early virtue plant thy breast, the precious art of vice detest. And again, the colors, if I could only see the back of the sampler. So here we have a beautiful red and white sampler from France, 18th century, just gorgeous. At the bottom in French, and I do not speak French. I wanted to take French, but I was told I had to take Spanish. It's all good. Amity, meaning friendship. Amour, meaning love. And fidelity, meaning loyalty. And souvenir means memory. And so there's two sets of initials on each side. So that possibly could have been the maker's parents' initials. And this is information that I found on the information board. This is not anything that I have researched. Okay, another band sampler from England, 1713 to 1715. Gorgeous sampler. And then a sampler from England, 1657. The blues in this are just beautiful. And I did not use a filter after I took these pictures. These are the pictures that I took on my camera, no flash. It is low lighting, of course, in the room. I'm sure specialty lighting. Linen, silk embroidery, spider stitch. They also, on a large board, listed all the different types of stitches. And in the center of the room in the case, there is Veronica Mori, or Mori, Italy, 1836. This was stitched on cotton with silk embroidery to apply the glass beads. And the color, I mean, you can tell, I think, from the pictures that the beautiful bright colors. And then this band sampler from Germany, 1742. Okay, I'll be honest here. Band samplers don't thrill me. I mean, they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but they don't tug at my heart. But oh my gosh, I think that if this one was reproduced, I would attempt it. Not that I would finish it, but I would attempt it. It is absolutely magnificent. There's multiple rows of stitching. And then you come down, and I'm not sure, maybe it's a motif of Samson or David fighting a lion. And then you go down and there's Adam and Eve and the angel, the crucifixion of Christ. I believe these are symbols of church. And then love or marriage. I love this peacock, and there is a sequin. It's a white metal alloy sequin on the peacock. And then a knight fighting or slaying a dragon. And even that dragon's pretty cool, and I'm not into dragons. The church with the olives and fruit. The peacock, parrot. I'm questioning if maybe those are black olives or plums, maybe, I'm not sure. This looked to be about 72 inches long, if you guesstimated. It was stunning as is, but to see the colors on the back would just really be probably mind-blowing. So quickly, I'll let you know the second exhibit that we went to see there is called Bouquets to Art. And so our friend Frances has a membership to the DeYoung Museum, and she said when we brought up the idea of going and seeing this Embroidered Histories exhibition, she said, oh, we should go the week of Bouquets to Art. And several of us didn't even know what that was. But what it is, it's a yearly floral exhibition at either San Francisco's DeYoung Museum or the Legion of Honor. And what they do is they have floral designers that come in and design pieces that reflect the art, sculpture, architecture of the museum. And it's 1 week only. Not every artistic piece has a bouquet, and it can range from all different styles. And so I thought I would show a few pictures here of that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this community. I hope you enjoyed the pictures of Bouquets to Art and Embroidered Histories. I will leave some more pictures at the end just in case you want to see more. I took a lot of pictures. I didn't get a picture of everything for the Bouquets to Art, but I try to get some of my favorite ones. So until next time, I'll leave you with the saying that I tell my daughter every day when I drop her off from school. Have a blessed day, make good choices, and I love you.